Hello, everybody. Live from Koreatown, it's the Ozone. I'm your host, Omar Miller. I will soon be joined by my brother, The Icons, EYECONZ, if you want to go argue with him on social media. And we got a great show for you today. We're going to talk basketball. Is there any way that the Cavs were not going to get swept after losing that game one? This is what we need to know. We got tennis. Rafael Nadal, again, is looking to set his own record and top his own record at the French Open. We have boxing. This weekend is chock full of big fights. We got Mares Santa Cruz on a rematch. We got Terrence Crawford versus Jeff Horn on a potential banana peel fight, as many people are calling it. And we also have young Charlo versus Austin Trout. And we have the 140-pound interim champion, Regis Prograis, is coming in. He's going to sit and he's going to talk with us for a bit, and he's got a fight coming up in his native New Orleans on July 14th. This is going to be an action-packed episode, but I want to talk to you and start off for a little bit about a disturbing trend that's going on. It's very interesting. We now see today that Anthony Bourdain committed suicide, and he was an inspiration to millions around the world. He showed the world how a meal can be communal and the different ways that food brings us all together. But somehow or another, it seems that in that process, he wasn't able to connect with himself internally to see that it was worth fighting on for. And I just wanted to give a moment of silence and a shout out to Anthony Bourdain. Partially because, you know what he did? He inspired us, and a lot of you guys that follow the program are familiar with the show that my brother and I have on the tennis channel called Advantage Omar, where we explore the cities and eat and drink our way through cities that host the Grand Slam tournaments and tennis tournaments around the world. And we would be remiss to not note that Anthony Bourdain set the blueprint for connecting travel and food and opening the world up and making it a little bit of a smaller place for all of us. And honestly, I think that we look at these people in general, all people, not just these people, but the people who end up that we see earlier this week. Kate Spade, the fashion designer, committed suicide as well. And now the numbers are coming out that are shocking. There's a poll that came out and said 2015 more Americans were killed by suicide than by car accidents. And that's saying a lot because a lot of Americans pass away by car accident. And, you know, you see the rich and famous doing it, and it's just another evidence, folks, that people are people, no matter how you slice it. And the other piece that goes along with that is being able to buy things or go places isn't going to rescue you from you. And it's not going to rescue you from the darkness that can come from being disconnected from the world, from yourself spiritually. I personally believe that we all need to get ourselves together. We all need to work on ourselves on a deeper level than what we just see with our eyes. Because in America here, there's some sense that's off. There's a reason that we can't help our friends who are hopeless. And I don't think they're all the best actors in the world in disguising their hopelessness. I think that the darkness gets a hold of all of us at different times, and that's why we're in this thing together. It's important for us to be able to come together and really help one another. We need to help one another. We need to look out for one another. Obviously, everybody's caught up in their own lives. And if you ask me, that's part of the problem. In America, we have an I first mentality, and it causes us to be extremely productive from a work standpoint. The labor force of the United States of America is the strongest of any country in the history of mankind. But as we see evidence by school shootings, by insane suicide rate, by the overall angst and division from our politics to our sports and everything in between, we're doing something wrong in America. Something isn't working right with the people that we are becoming and that we are raising, and we really need to address it. From veterans, I do believe the number is 22 veterans kill themselves every day, to regular people, to opioid addictions. We got a lot of problems. And I bring it all up because it does tie into sports, because sports is supposed to be something that unifies us. And so with that, just want to give you a little something to chew on this edition of the Ozone. And now we can jump right into what we got to talk about. fresh out of the ring from sparring, I can still feel the aggression, brother. I want you to calm down a little bit. I can feel it.
I ain't got no aggression. I'm done. I'm done. I'm good. I'm calm now. I'm straight.
Good. Fresh out the ring, we have the champ is here right now at 140. A young man who is ready to make some noise on the large stage. He's about to be back on television on July 14th, correct?
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm Ozone welcome to Mr. Regis Prograis. I speak a little French, brother.
You got it.
I got coaching, but I wanted to make sure that it was right.
Yeah, everybody mess it up, but you got it.
Man, this speaks to a deeper problem we got in America because everybody act like speaking a foreign languages is something wrong with you.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We're glad you made it out. How'd the sparring go this morning?
Real good. I beat the hell out of my sparring partners. Should I say that? I don't think I should say that.
No, that's what they're there for. That motivates them.
I did good. I did real good today. Wednesday, I didn't do as good, but today I barely got
focused.
hit.
You feeling it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did way better today.
And you know what's interesting? That's something that I noticed in watching your fights. Since we met, I went back and I did my research on you and watched what I could watch. And you got some great head movement, great lateral movement, great head movement. But it seems like at times you like to mix it up. I caught an interview. I see that.
I love to fight. My coach always tell me, man, don't get hit. But like, I love to fight. Like sometimes it be too easy for me. Like it get boring. Like, man, I want to like feel something. I shouldn't probably want that, but like
I hear you.
Sometimes like I want to feel like a little power. I want to feel something, and getting the mix or whatever. But I can box all day. That's easy for me.
Well, I noticed that in the fight where you won the belt is that the fight with Ndongo, it felt like you wanted to feel his power, what he was going to bring to the table, and then you were not impressed once you felt it.
Nah, he couldn't hurt me. Once I told him, I was like, man, look, this dude can't hurt me. I got him. If you can't hit me, you can't at least like make me respect you. Like that's a wrap.
It's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem.
For them.
Yeah, definitely for them.
I can see that in the fight because the other thing that you do that I like a lot, we talk about here all the time, man, is you go to the body.
Yeah.
The body work is totally underrated, but it seems like it's making a comeback in the league nowadays, and I'm happy about that. Only thing that I'd like to see happen is I would like to see the referees catch up.
Right.
Because I see a lot of guys doing body work that they don't get credit for when it comes time for the scoring. Now,
the judges.
Yeah, sorry, not the ref. I'm sorry, the judges.
Yeah, the judges, they throw body work in as if it's just a given, not like you score points on it.
But also, I want to say the referees as well. Because in this last fight with Vasily Lomachenko and Jorge Linares, in my opinion, one of the reasons that I felt like Linares got caught late was because he went to the body early and was constantly being warned about going to the body for punches that were actually on the belt.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah,
I see that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't.
The referee, a lot of referees, they want to break you up. They don't like you to fight on the inside, and they want to break you up. So you definitely got to have a referee, especially for my fights. They definitely got to make sure a referee in there to we gonna fight. We gonna get in the inside. We gonna fight because a lot of referees just want you to stay on the outside.
And
as soon as you get on the inside, they like break.
It makes their job easier if the fight is taking place from a distance.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's a problem. We talk about primarily, we cover baseball and boxing on this podcast. You are in the Ozone right now. And for us, we have a lot of problems with the state of boxing, things that have nothing to do with the actual fighting portion of it. Mm-hmm. And coming from a young man, times that I've spoken to you, you come off a really intelligent individual. You got the right people around you. And it, to me, seems like it can be a daunting task depending on the teams and the stables that are involved, which have nothing to do with fighting. We had King Gabe Rosado came in out of Philly. He came in and sat with us for a little bit when he was in the middle of his dispute with Golden Boy, who was his team at the time.
Yeah,
they weren't seeing eye to eye, and they ended up eventually breaking apart. But that was part of what we talk about. We talk about a lot of things I'd like to get a take on just from you really quickly. Mm-hmm. The top of the list is this stable situation. I feel as though you're an individual, you're fighting on top rank on the big card that's coming up, and you're an individual that wants to fight everybody. I've watched the videos. I heard you speaking about everybody at 140 can get it.
Yeah.
Mikey Garcia included. Anybody and everybody that want to strap up at 140, ready for him.
Basically, yeah.
Now, what's your take on this with actually getting the fights that you should get, when you should get them? You're young, you're at your peak. Talk to me.
I mean, the thing is that's the whole thing about it's the business side of things. You know, like a lot of people say like fighters scared of other fighters. I just don't believe that. You know, we've been fighting. A lot of fighters been fighting since they was little kids and stuff. Not the case for me, but a lot of fighters have been fighting since they was kids. So they're not scared of, other fighters. But the managers and the promoters, they wouldn't match you up, So, like my situation right now, I was supposed to fight a dude named Jose Ramirez. I was mandatory. Like I have to fight him, and they wiggled out of it. They got out of it some type of way. Now
do they pay for that, or do they get off the hook?
Sometimes they do. In my case, I think they kind of got off the hook because they offered me something better. Basically, like they put me in. Now I'm fighting in New Orleans on ESPN.
At the house on ESPN.
Yeah, so it's like. Sometimes I think they pay for it, right? They'll pay for that. They'll give you like a fee or something like that to step aside. But in my case, they gave me something just way better. I'm fighting in New Orleans, on ESPN going to the Pacquiao fight. So it's like
very hard to beat.
It's like, you want me to fight this dude or you want me to fight in my hometown on the undercard of Pacquiao, So
with the most eyes possible on you.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's how they kind of wiggle out of it. Yeah.
Well, it's a wiggle and a knot because then, talent needs exposure. And it's with what I do, whether it's me on the microphone here and with my brother, whether it's me in front of the camera for Ballers or whatever other hustle that I got going. Mm-hmm. This is my big brother here. He's been the one to tell me forever. They can't expose you in the living room. Yeah. It can't happen at home. Yeah. And you getting the eyes on you with your skill set in this situation, I would say actually you probably got the win. They didn't wiggle out. You came up, so you got blessed with that one.
Yeah, of course, exactly. And like right now, all the like writers, all the boxing people, they know they saying like I'm the top dog.
I've seen
the
that
weight class. Everybody already saying like I'm the best at my weight class. So they can wiggle out of it. People can have belts. They not for me they can have belts. They're belt holders, not champions. Like I feel like I'm the best at my weight division. Like it's nobody in the world that can mess me in my weight division. A belt can't tell you better than me because everybody.
But they can tell
know.
you by hiding from you.
Exactly.
They sure can because that's what they do nowadays, and you see a lot of that. And I don't necessarily. I agree with you. A guy who risks his life for a living, it isn't about him being scared or whether or not fighting. Oftentimes, it is a business decision. As a fan, that hurts. Mm-hmm. I'm of the era where some of the individuals that we saw at 360 Promotions at Tom's fights the other night, for example, we ran into Michael Olajide. Hey, man, Michael Olajide was a monster, and he fought everybody.
Yeah.
And unfortunately now, certain individuals have made it more about getting paid and about being undefeated, whereas the old adage in boxing is if you're undefeated, you just ain't fought enough people yet. Yeah. You ain't found that individual to bring the best out of you.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I saw an interview that you did with one of our close friends with Ellie Seckback when you talked about how you fought twice in the amateurs against Earl Spence. Mm-hmm. Now, being at 140 and with the aspiration of potentially moving up to 147, obviously there's a lot of work to be done at 140 for now. Mm-hmm. Forget about moving up. With that, when you look at these pound-for-pound rankings, how do you feel they come up with this stuff? I have a real problem at times because they seem as though there's a motivation that's beyond actual fighting. Yeah. And I understand it's a business. And you got to get your bread. I get what's going down.
Yeah.
But if you look at the quality of opponents, of what goes down and the amount of fights, somehow or another the rankings always get jumbled up. What can you do to advance yourself in that light?
Just keep fighting quality opponents and keep destroying them. Like you fight the best and beat them up the worst. Like that's all. Like to put it in simple terms, fight the best people, beat them up the worst. That's how you be on the pound for pound list.
Right.
That's simple as that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't think it works like that because look at Lomachenko. Lomachenko really hasn't fought a lot of fights, and they consider him the pound for pound, and he hasn't fought anybody. So,
well, I won't say he hasn't fought anybody.
Yeah, I won't say he fought anybody.
But he has 13 fights, right?
Yeah, but he's good. He's really good. I think. Yeah. Right now, for me, I think he's at the top of my pound for pound list.
Really?
He's number one. Yeah. I mean,
can't put him over Gennady.
I can't put him over the heavyweight champ. I can't put him over.
Yeah, but Anthony Joshua. Triple G just had a draw with Canelo.
We know. Look, officially,
we know that, but on paper,
on paper it's a draw. But you saw the fight.
Yeah, on paper it's a draw. Anthony Joshua just he just fought Joseph Parker. He went the distance with him. So can you put
fight?
Yeah. So can you put him number one pound for pound?
But he beat Klitschko. Klitschko's a nice champion
for a long time.
For a long time.
Well, regardless of that, I like Loma. I have a problem with
anointing him early.
I have a problem with everybody getting anointed early. That's one of the reasons I really wanted you to come in and sit. Is because you're a young man. You got a long future ahead of you, a bright future ahead of you, and nowadays everybody seems to be a prisoner of the moment. It doesn't matter which sport we talk about. We get into it a lot here because people like to say that this kid plays down in Anaheim, Mike Trout. He's a great baseball player. But if you read the papers, you'll think he's better than Babe Ruth, literally. Because they just decide that. And I know that helps to sell clickbaits and streams and likes.
Of course.
You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I watch the fights. And you see guys who put in work and who get tested. Loma's up there. I'll give him top 5 even. But I can't say Loma's better than Earl Spence. I got Gennady at number 1.
What's your top 5 then?
I like Gennady, and not necessarily in this order. I like Gennady. I like Spence. I like Joshua a lot. I actually can appreciate a technical fight that he put down in Joseph Parker because I'm a big fellow myself, and Joe Parker moved like he was like your size. Joe Parker was moving a lot, and Joshua still won that fight. I like the fact that I've seen that Joshua can beat you in a multitude of ways. I like Bud Crawford, but I honestly. Bud likes to get started slow, and I don't like guys that get started slow because that's always dangerous. Anything can happen to you, especially with the way that they like to give away
even rounds and everything.
The way that things are given away now. And then I got Loma there as well. I also, honestly, I really like Sora. We call him the Thai homie affectionately, but Sora Rungs guy, the Thai kid that beat up Chocolatito twice and beat him up bad. He's having some mental problems right now. As I said, he went through a breakup, so what can you do? But if we're just talking about
in the ring,
guys in the ring, man, that kid's a problem. He's a serious problem. And I also don't give over credence to that. Oh, he had a loss. He took a loss from Quadras, I do believe it was. But he seems as though he's turned a corner and came into it, become a different fighter now. And I have to take him where he is right now. Now, along those lines, I personally feel like timing is essential in sports as far as what and who you can become. You're coming along in a time in history where being a small man fighter is more lucrative even than being a big man fighter. Me as a kid, I'm 39 years old. Me as a kid, I would have never thought that would, ever be the case. And we've had a lot of great small man fighters recently in Manny Pacquiao, in Floyd Mayweather. I mean, in Chocolatito being the pound for pound king for a good amount of time. You know what I mean? I would like to know now, priority wise, you're a young dude. How old are you?
29.
29 years old, fighting out of New Orleans. You're finally fighting at home now. Which I want to talk about in 1 second. But from this point, career trajectory-wise, what is the goal? Because I talk to guys, and guys have different goals about their image. Is your goal for people to be able to talk about it after the fact and be like, man, that kid, he put it down. I saw a fight when blah, 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 blah. Or is it, man, he changed the game. His finances are up, man. He just financed my movie and bought a casino.
Like, definitely want to do that. Definitely want to do that. You always the money. You definitely always gotta chase the money, of course. But you still want to be legendary. Be legendary and be immortal. Tyson is like my favorite fighter. And like he is immortal. Muhammad Ali is like immortal. Sugar Ray Robinson is immortal. Henry Armstrong is immortal.
Sport.
Like they would never die. If you talk about boxing, you have to talk about these people. So like for me, that's like the goal. Be immortal. And one of my biggest goals coming up was like be immortal as far as like New Orleans boxing. And like. It's almost happening already.
You're there.
It's like almost happening already right now.
I can tell you this. Don't sell yourself short, because bringing an internationally televised fight to a small city, if you want to call New Orleans a small city, I already told you, myself, New Orleans is top 5 on my cities in the country, and really like top 10, 15 of my places in the whole world to have a good time. I love New Orleans. But to bring that home, we kind of saw a blueprint of that with Deontay Wilder. When Deontay Wilder was able to start getting his fights televised and staying at home, even though now he fights a bit more up in New York and in Barclays, but he was able to bring the belt to the house. That's a big deal. So don't sell yourself short is what I'm saying.
I'm definitely not selling my show. I mean, I want to be a world champion. I want to fight over the world. Ali did it. Ray Robinson, they fought all over the world. I definitely want to do that. But my whole goal is like when you say boxing, New Orleans, you gotta say Regis first.
Yep.
You
Okay.
gotta say me.
Top
And
dog.
He coming
Right.
next. Jericho, he from New Orleans too. He coming behind me. But
Okay.
you gotta say Regis. New Orleans boxing, me. I want a statue in New Orleans by the Superdome, all that stuff. You gotta say me. But I'm almost there. The thing is, like, I'm almost there already. That's the crazy part about it. And I haven't even started yet. I haven't, I got 21 fights with 18 knockouts. I haven't even started.
Putting people to sleep.
That's good money.
I'm putting them to sleep.
That's a good ratio.
But eventually, like, long term, like, of course, that's the goal. And of course, a whole lot of money, buy casinos and invest in all that stuff. Yeah, do that type of stuff too.
Well, what I can tell you from my perspective is becoming successful was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be in comparison to staying successful. Mm-hmm. And you know what? The world is a very interesting place, and just like in a fight, you always got to be ready to make adjustments.
Yeah.
And this is a fight for your own success, your personality, your legacy, and I wish you really well in that.
Thank
now, with the fight coming up, how do you feel about your opponent?
I don't know nothing about him. I
Really?
know he undefeated. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen a few. You seem to have had a few guys that are supposed to be there or next on your resume, and now you got Juan Jose that's supposed to be coming up. He's undefeated. Do you find that individuals feel like because the belt was an interim belt, it was a vacant title, and you picked it up, that they have a sidestep look, like they have a look beyond? Or do you find that these individuals, you can see when a boxer is planning past the fight that he's supposed to fight.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, it looked like Ndongo wasn't focused enough on the preparation for you. And he's paying for that now because now this puts him this puts him back.
Nah, I gotta disagree. I think he prepared for it. I think
You think he's just overwhelmed?
He said I hit him the hardest he ever been hit in his life.
I saw the poster. Yeah, I see that.
I think he told Luther Bella, he told him a story or something like that. Like when he was 4 years old, he got hit by a truck. And he said, like, I hit harder than that. He said, like, that's the only thing that can compare to that. So he said, like, that's the hardest he ever been hit in his life. So
wow.
I think he prepared. He had a good training camp to prepare. And, I don't know if
he wanted the belt. He wasn't enough.
He wasn't enough for me.
Where do you think you generate your power from?
My legs. And I'm naturally strong. Some like in boxing or maybe in sports, and I know in boxing for sure, it's something you born with. You can improve it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's
got them heavy hands.
If you got them, you got them. That's just it. You can't like George Foreman and Tyson and stuff.
And that's why George Foreman was able to come back deep into his 40s and still put cats to sleep because they didn't go nowhere.
Yeah, you can't. It's something you born with. You can improve it. Of course, you can improve your technique and you can do like drills and lift weights and stuff. But if you're a puncher, you're a puncher.
Right.
And like I'm a puncher. I'm strong.
Man, it is what it is.
Yeah,
I think that the 14th is going to do a lot for your profile because the skill is already there, and watching the fights and watching your highlights, it's there. The preparation is there. Mentally, you seem very focused. Getting eyes on you is the key, in my opinion. Now, with that, I bid you very well with that. But now we want to talk about what's happening this weekend. I'd like to get your take, both of you guys. This is an interesting situation because now that the promoters are starting to have their own stables which stretch out, we have this situation where we have multiple high-end fights on one day, which is pretty interesting. And a couple of them are here. I'm thinking about running down. We might go run down there tomorrow to see two L.A. natives fight in Mares and Santa Cruz, mix it up in the rematch. Well, who do you like in that fight?
Honestly, I didn't even see the first fight, man.
They mixed it up, Jack.
Yeah, I saw the highlights and stuff like that.
It's a lot of that little man, 200 punches around kind of deal.
Yeah,
which is tough for me to watch because I would like to see an individual have the ability to put somebody to sleep.
Yeah, without
you know what I mean. I think it's
200 punches.
Yeah, it's not an accumulation.
Right,
This is a
that one
Mack
punch.
truck.
You like the heavyweight. You
This
like the
them
heavyweight stuff. Yeah. You like the heavyweight stuff. You like the.
It doesn't have to
put
be
'em
heavyweight. I just like guys that got heavy hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
got you.
I'm not saying it's got to be a one punch, but it just
They can.
They
You
can
put 'em out.
They can. But me personally, I like Santa Cruz. I like Santa Cruz in
I
the
like Santa
rematch.
Cruz.
I think that he I don't know. The guys are evenly matched to a certain degree, and they know each other. Rematch is always tricky, so anything could happen. I like Santa Cruz. They're both from LA, so I like them both because I'm from here. I'm happy to see that the fights are at the Staples Center, but I think one thing this is another scenario like the spot that you're in. Something that's going to garner a lot of attention there is that you got the young Charlo, twin Charlo, the smaller Charlo, not the younger Charlo, the twins, but the smaller Charlo fighting Austin Trout. Everybody's got their eyes on the Charlo boys now. And it's such a tricky situation because in the same way in boxing that nobody knows that they should have retired until that night, it seems like you can also usurp where you are and be on the next level before the rest of the world knows.
Yeah.
And in that, the Charlo boys have kind of exploded on the scene and proclaimed the world for themselves. I personally think they both need more rounds. They're talking about 160 Charlo fighting Gennady if the fight doesn't materialize with Canelo. I think he needs more rounds before that myself. He's more athletic than Gennady. But I think
he'll beat him.
Really? That's why I wanted to bring it up.
I think he'll beat him. First off, that's my partner.
Okay.
Like, we all started
together
in Houston.
Yep.
I sleep by the house. They sleep by my house and stuff in high school and all that. So I've been on it for a long, long time. Jamal's a big puncher. He's more athletic.
Very athletic.
He's quick. He's fast. He has defense.
I haven't seen the defense.
Yeah.
That's the part I need to see.
But the thing is, he walks people down because he's so big and strong. So
he's a big 160.
Exactly. He's so big and strong. So when somebody hit him, like, it don't matter. He like, man, that stuff. You know, I remember he fought what's his name? J-Rock, Julian Williams.
Yep.
And J-Rock was hitting him with a right hand. He kept hitting him, boom, kept hitting the right hand. And I just kept looking at Jamal's face. I'm looking.
He
like,
ain't feeling it.
He not feeling it at all. He just waiting to set up the punch. Ronnie told him, like, throw the uppercut. The next round, he twisted. Boom, throw the uppercut, put him to sleep. Dude got back up and finished him off like that. You know, so I think it's going to be you look at Triple G and Danny Jacobs.
Yes.
Right? Do you think, it's hard to compare Danny and Jamal, but I think Jamal is a bigger puncher than Danny Jacobs.
Really?
I actually that's my favorite Triple G fight was him and Danny Jacobs because I felt like that was the most challenging fight that he's had. And I like Danny a lot. Danny's a homie. I met Danny doing a charity event for cancer research up in Toronto. And that's when I learned about his story and so on and so forth. They've been chirping a lot at each other. Yeah. I actually think one thing that's going to bode the Charlos well regardless is that they present really well. They're good talkers, and at this point they've backed it up. I just have a problem, just like we were talking before, because I want to see more rounds, and that just could be me. Maybe I haven't seen them enough, but I want to see them in deeper fights. A danger when you knock people out early is that you knock people out early.
Not getting enough rounds.
And you ain't going to knock everybody out early. So then you have to be able to dig deep and have that toolbox to get busy.
In the championship rounds.
Yeah.
In a fight
but the thing
that
is,
goes.
So that's the same thing going on with me right now. People
I
saying,
know, you knock people out.
maybe he can't do it. But the thing is, what people don't see is the stuff in the gym. So we know we can do in the gym. Like people say, maybe he can't go rounds. I do 14 rounds in the gym with 6 different people. So I know I can do it. Just because you didn't see it, that don't mean I can't do it. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing with twins.
With the Charlo boys.
Yeah, they can do. I know they can do the round. I didn't see them in the gym.
Yeah, you know it.
Coming up, I didn't spar them myself. You know, and that was a long time ago. Whatever, but we sparred. And they've been sparring like quality, like sparring partners for a long, like years and years and years. So like. They know they can do that. You know, they have
Now, let me ask you this. What makes a quality sparring partner?
Somebody that's going to push you. Somebody that's going to push you, that's going to give you real work. Like, I don't want sparring partners that I can just beat up on. Like, I want sparring partner that's going to beat me up. Like, you ask my trainer, like, when I first go into camp, my sparring partners be kicking my ass.
Really?
And then I just make that adjustment. Wednesday, my sparring partner bust my nose. Mark Wahlberg came in there and, my sparring partner bust my nose. And today I got him back. Both of them. I bust one of his. I bust their nose. You know what I mean? So I like a sparring partner that's going to push me. Like, to where I got to really go in there and think, you know, and really make adjustments. I don't want nobody like I'm just going to beat up on. I don't want that. Because in a fight, you know, you're not supposed to just beat up on somebody.
100%.
These dudes coming in the fight.
Level.
Exactly.
So do you watch films for the fights, for the fighters that you're about to fight?
Never. I let my coach do that. I don't watch. I never watch my opponents or nothing like that, you know.
And now, how long you guys been together? You're out of Houston, and how long have you guys been working with each other?
A couple of 5 years. Yeah, 5 years.
So it's obviously a good working relationship.
Yeah, and you got to have a lot of trust like that too.
Sure do if you're not watching tape. That's cool though. That's a deep relationship.
I just don't like watching tape because like the tape you're not in the tape you can't see how hard they hit. You can't feel it in the tape. You don't see how fast they are. It might look like that, but the TV
Being
always
in there is
tricky.
different.
It's all being there is always different.
Right.
I like the going at the first round and and see what I need to do the first round. Adjust from there. Like I feel like that's what the great fighters did. They went in there and they adjusted right on the spot.
That's what you got to do as the great champs, right?
Exactly.
That's what it's about. So, favorite fighter of all time?
I started with Mike Tyson, Duran. I love Tyson, Duran.
You don't hear enough about Roberto Duran.
Yeah, you don't.
Duran was
honestly,
amazing.
he's a monster.
Duran was
He's a
amazing.
menace to society.
Duran
That
was
dude
like he can do so much stuff in the ring.
Sure could.
As far as I put him like top 5 ever.
Really?
You love him.
Yeah. Because he was so good. Like he can do so many different things in the ring.
When he was great, he was great.
Yeah, the only person that I really saw destroy Marvin Hagler gave him a great fight. He gave Marvin Hagler a great fight, but Tommy Hearns did him dirty.
Tommy did
that length.
Tommy did everybody dirty.
He did a lot. He didn't do Marvin,
except for
Sugar
Ray
and Marvin.
Yeah.
Those two dudes, he didn't do them dirty. Now with that, want to move on. You're welcome to stay. We want to move on to talk about what else is popping right now. Me personally, man, I put up a poll on my Twitter page. I was just talking to your man about it before. By the time this airs in a couple hours, I fear that this may be the end of LeBron James as a Cleveland Cavalier.
Think so?
I think so. Did you watch that footage? Did anybody see that tape after J.R. Smith had the debacle with the timeout and running the clock out?
Yeah, we saw that.
And the extended tape where they're on the bench.
Like 2.5 minutes worth.
It's like 2.5 minutes worth in between a television timeout where they were preparing for overtime, and LeBron James asked Tyronn Lue if they didn't have any timeouts. And they did. There's a point where he shuts down in a way that I've never seen him look like defeated mentally. Excuse me. With that, I don't know how you stay. Because now you can argue that he ushered in the era of the super team. And now you got to damn near join the super team to beat them.
I don't even think they need a super team to beat him. He just needs guys who are going to execute, period. Not even execute the game plan, just execute, do their job. If you're hired to shoot jumpers or hit jumpers, open jumpers, you got to hit them. They pay you too much money to do that.
Yeah.
So stay in the gym, stay out the club, do whatever you got to do. But when he passes you the ball, hit your shot.
Yeah.
You're wide open.
Exactly.
That's been my argument.
He gonna dish it out. He gonna go in. They all they all draw to him. He gonna dish it out. You gotta make the shot.
I'm like Regis.
Yeah, you gotta make the shot. Exactly.
Wide open
pay millions of dollars to make a shot.
Wide open
shots. They need to be knocking them down.
And now the reason I went there first is because you're sitting with two dudes who, in real life, I personally think that the best fit for LeBron James is New Orleans.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying too. That's exactly what I'm saying.
You get Boogie
Houston or New Orleans?
We go Houston because they have a bad coach.
This is where I think
coach is terrible.
And LeBron James has never played with a great coach. I would say Spoelstra is the closest that he got. And Spoelstra was like 32 years old.
Yeah.
And that was a Pat Riley influence.
Disciple,
he never played with that one coach. My man is ready to take off over there now. I'm sorry, bro. I mean to offend you. But honestly, he's never played with that level of a coach, of a Popovich, of a Jeff Van Gundy, of
that would be great fit in San Antonio.
A Phil Jackson, of even if you say Steve Kerr, even though I think he's caught a lot of the wave of Mark Jackson putting the team together up in Golden State, who doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion, for it. Mike D'Antoni's system doesn't work.
It's cute.
It's cute. It's a cute
It's
system.
entertaining, but it doesn't win.
That's it. That's it. It's proven time and time again. I don't care if he was with the Lakers. I don't care if he's with the Suns. I don't care if he's with the Knicks. I don't care if he's with Houston. That Houston team on paper is fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And it's a good looking thing. You have committed these guys to, though they're shooting 0 for 33 from threes, to keep jacking them up. It's not there, bro.
Yeah.
It's not there.
Go to the inside.
It wasn't there.
See, but if he goes to New Orleans, you'll get that, because if they bring DeMarcus Cousins back and you have Anthony Davis with LeBron James, Drew Holiday,
and Rajon Rondo,
you can fill that team up with anybody else.
You go run with him and get you a ring. You don't want one?
Yeah, exactly. Anybody. I might go run with him and get a ring.
If you can hit an open shot, you get you a ring. He could go to Philly. There's no doubt about that. And they're talking about now hiring his They're talking about hiring his old GM for the whole debacle that took place with the burner social media account.
Now, what I heard about LeBron right now is that they're trying to get his family in Cleveland to get him to stay.
Well,
they're going dirty. They're going dirty. They're going dirty.
They're going to try to make him feel bad.
He go to New Orleans.
I agree.
Look, he go to New Orleans with AD and Cousins.
Are you kidding?
First off, AD is unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
You can't stop him.
All three of those guys we're talking about unstoppable.
Only thing that can stop AD is AD because he has a tendency to drop on the disabled list a lot.
Yeah.
That's AD's biggest problem. And I'm not exactly sure what it is because he's not too frail to the point where you're like, that dude, he needs to put on some of that good kind of weight.
Yeah.
He's not that.
Yeah,
and
he got the size on him.
He's got the size on him, but somehow or another, and he's not too big where it's like Yao Ming style where it's like, well, he's actually too big for his frame and he can't stay in.
But when you bring LeBron in, then you take that pressure off him where people aren't banging with him. Yeah, so now it's just him, Boogie, and LeBron. You have your triangle there right there. Man, that team would be, I would doubt if they lose 10 games. If all of them get to play the whole season.
That'll be hard to stop.
Yeah.
And people are going to follow LeBron no matter where it is that they go.
Hopefully not J.R. Smith, though.
I just don't understand what you said something during the game that was hilarious. He said, we need to know how much J.R. Smith is paying Tyronn Lue to keep him in the lineup. Why in the world is he still playing? That's the part that's tripping me out.
He's got some on T. Lue.
He might have those naked photos.
Yeah, he got something. He got something.
I've never seen anything like that. You blow the game like that, and then you are in the starting lineup every single game, and you don't even come out the game. He plays almost as many minutes as LeBron.
And Rodney Hood is out there like, by the way, I can go. If you can slide me some minutes, I get you some offense.
Yeah.
That's disappointing, though, because although that team imploded in the middle of the year, the greatness of LeBron James, in my opinion, is on full display. People like to play and act like it has something to do with him is the reason that he's 3-9 in the championship. Right. Assuming they lose this, I'm going, I could be a little premature, but I think they're going to get swept tonight. I don't like the whole feeling. I don't see a winning feeling in nobody's eyes except for LeBron and Kevin Love. Nobody else looks like they're out there to win.
But I also heard that if Kyrie would be there, then it would be different. I don't agree with that either because it doesn't matter if guys aren't hitting open shots.
Kyrie ain't gonna miss 20 open shots.
But it has to be more than you and Kyrie.
I agree, but Kevin Love isn't missing a bunch of open shots.
But you have to be able to depend on a guy like J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver and everybody else to know what the score is and what time it is in the game and all that kind of stuff.
Kyle Korver is only limited by his own athletic ability, but
he's old,
his mind is. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. His mind is in the game. Mm-hmm. His body, his mind is willing, but the body can only do so much in his situation. Now, moving on from that, because we don't got the crystal ball, unless one of y'all know LeBron, but we don't get the crystal ball, know where the man is going to go. Championships in 3 out of the last 4 years completely put you in the category of a dynasty, which begs that same situation of them being anointed as one of the greatest teams and franchises of all time. I'll wait till they officially throw the parade and this, that, and the other, but I got a whole diatribe of stuff where I disagree with that because I've seen a lot of holes in their game.
Nobody's ever exploited them, so you can't fault them for that.
Herein lies, you can only beat who's in front of you, and this is in every sport, and they're doing that. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. But I want to move on to a very interesting development. At times we mix in the social and the political of what's going on in the world of sports. And now President Cheeto had the nerve today to say that he wants the kneeling players to submit to him a list of all of their personal friends who they feel like have been done wrong by the justice system, that then in turn that he can look into their cases and see if he wants to pardon them.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy, but in that there's a lot of, it's a real trick bag. This guy's a real snaky dude because in that the assumption is, first and foremost, because you protest an injustice, you must know someone personally who,
who's
like,
got done wrong.
Yeah, it's like people who pass away from rare diseases and say somebody passes away from like an ALS or something like that. Mm-hmm. More times than not, you will champion the cause because before that it was a rare disease. It wasn't necessarily personal to you like that.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't that with social injustice, because with the social injustice, as we're seeing, like with the black officer who beat the crap out of that dude the other day down in Mesa, Arizona, along with his gang, because all that was gang violence. Call it what it is.
Did you get to see it?
No. Mm-hmm.
It's very disturbing. There's about 5 officers that come off an elevator and wreck shop on a dude. There's a young man, a black man, who's standing on a balcony at an apartment complex on his phone, and the police officers tell him to get off of his phone, so he puts the phone down to his side. Then they tell him to sit down. He doesn't comply with sitting down. He kind of does like a lean squat, like the coaches make you do for punishment in basketball practice, on the wall. At which point the officer is heard saying, "Listen, man, I ain't gonna tell you again." Goes to work. Walks right up to him. They surround him. About 5 to 7 officers surround him. He hits him with 5 crosses in a row. And then when the dude is just standing there and is like, "You don't have to do this," flips it over, goes MMA style, and hits him with an elbow to his face and drops him, where they continue to pound the man on the ground. He's unconscious. They leave him a ticket for disorderly conduct or something like that. Bounce. Never even report the assault to their when they file the report about the ticket that they gave.
Yeah.
Well, thank God the surveillance footage was running at the apartment. From what I understand, I think it might have been body cam footage, but
no, it wasn't body cam.
It was surveillance from the apartment. And now this young man, I thank God he spoke the other day, and you could hear he's messed up.
He should have been.
He should have been worse than he is. They did him dirty. So now, that's an injustice to everybody. I don't have to personally know that brother to protest his social injustice.
Yeah.
So now when you're in a situation with Cheeto saying, "Bring me somebody who you personally find," one, is that a condition? Is that meaning that if I know about a case that isn't necessarily personal,
right?
Does that make it invalid? The whole assumption is you've created a villain so you can be the hero, and it's a real trick bag situation. I just wanted to get your take on what you feel about the anthem kneeling scenarios going on in the world of the NFL.
That's a hard situation, you know.
I think
it's definitely a tough spot, you know. This is a great country, you know. Of course,
no doubt about it.
It's definitely a great country, you know. But
we got our problems.
We got problems. We definitely got problems. But I feel like you should be able to. We have freedom of speech. You can,
exactly.
You know what I mean. You should be able to kneel down and, you know, put your hand up or whatever if you need to do that. You know, because just like you say, that's been happening a lot. Like, I mean, police just been beating people up
for
close to home.
Centuries.
Baton Rouge. Well, we know that.
That was the worst.
Baton Rouge. They killed the dude.
That was the worst.
Yeah.
You talking about the cat in front of the store?
Yeah.
That was the worst.
Yeah.
I can't remember the brother's name right now, but that was terrible.
Sterling.
Yeah,
Alton Sterling. That was it. Alton Sterling.
And you let those guys go.
And they let him go.
And they let him go.
No charges.
But this is the problem, because what the president is saying is that he doesn't want to do his own homework. He doesn't want to do his own research, because he can put a committee together to say, listen, instead of going handpicking a couple of guys from the NFL, why don't you put together a committee that can say, this is going on and let's fix this problem. Let's have these guys do the research to find out the problem. Not selling a false narrative that these people, you know, that the NFL players are against the military or against the flag or anything.
That's what he did. He hijacked the narrative. And unfortunately, and I can say it by being on the tube all the time, TV is the most powerful medium ever created. Still, the internet is right there, and the internet works in tandem with television. Yeah. But the tube does something to people. And I can tell you the difference between back when I was primarily in the movies versus now when I'm primarily on TV. When you're in the movies, people have to pay to go see you, and it's a different animal. When you're on television every week, the way people approach you is as though they know you.
Yeah.
In a whole different way. I mean, I have people say the most absurd things to me. I have men come up and say, "Man, you with me and my wife every night in our bed." Like, I am?
Why?
Like, what?
and it's a consistency, and they don't mean any harm by it. You know what I mean? And and there's an innocence to it.
It's the TV.
But it's the fact that the TV is right there, and they're in the bed watching.
Yeah.
So there's an intimacy, and for somebody like myself, I'm 6'5", 300 pounds. So this puts me in a good position to diffuse a lot of situations that otherwise, before I got on, were situations where people felt threatened in some way or this, that, and the other. Well, now they see me and they're like, oh, you know, it's a different animal.
Yeah.
And with that, if you master that medium, television, which is what I think that this president has done very well, whether you watch it, his most successful ventures as a businessman have been in the media. They haven't been in his ventures of selling steaks and
right.
blah,
so
blah,
let me
blah,
ask you
blah,
this.
blah, blah.
How do you feel about him taking Dennis Rodman to Korea with him?
You know, I think that the dude is always, I didn't know about that, but I think that he's always looking for a potential scapegoat. He can grab Dennis Rodman and take him with him. Who once again he self-admitted that he's not going to do his homework. They ask him, "What are you going to talk to the dictator about?" I don't know. I haven't looked at all. I mean, doesn't even matter. It's just about attitude. You know who's not going to make it just about attitude? The other guy with the nuclear bombs. He's actually going to do his research and going to talk to you about what it is that he needs and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Now, if you bring the worm out with you who has a friendship with him and it doesn't work out, you can now point the finger at the worm on why it didn't work out.
It's true.
It's like being a player. You always set up and out in a scapegoat just in case your babe catch you doing something that's out of pocket. Oh man, that was Regis. I was at the gym with Regis. That wasn't me.
And
that was Regis' girl.
What's the better person to blame is Dennis Rodman.
Than the worm.
You got Dennis Rodman.
You got Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, exactly.
He can be the ultimate scapegoat if necessary.
That's like bringing Mike Tyson over there. That's like the same thing.
This is the situation.
Yeah.
So instead of, once again, what he's showing you here is, instead of taking somebody that's qualified, even though Dennis Rodman has been over there a few times, you'd rather take the famous person.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with him.
It's like the Apprentice All-Star roster.
It's like an All-Star edition.
Because every time he does something, it's somebody usually that had an apprentice background, that was on the show with him or something like that.
I don't know about that. I don't know enough about that to say because I didn't watch the show. But the person always has some sort of a profile or a television background. That's without question. Instead of people who have dedicated their lives to studying this stuff,
right?
It's beautiful that he pardoned that lady Alice Johnson that was sentenced to life for a nonviolent crime.
Crazy?
I mean that's great that he did that.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
he did Jack Johnson.
He wanted to do Muhammad Ali, but Muhammad Ali has already been cleared.
And herein lies the issue, though. Those things you also can appreciate, and I will give that man kudos for doing the right thing there.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, I can also still have a range of emotion and harbor that emotion, which is also, you shouldn't have to have a reality star or a movie star in Sylvester Stallone have to be the person to make you aware of what time it is in the country for all of this stuff. And while you're busy trying to scapegoat athletes and other people who hold some sort of notoriety, you're always deflecting. You make it about the military, and somehow or another people fall for the okie doke, despite the fact that he's got the 5-time draft dodger.
Right, he's a 5-time draft dodger.
Yeah,
this is just unbelievable. But that's why I wanted to get your take on that, because it's an interesting situation that has to be resolved in some way or the other. And I just wish that there was a potential for us to have more unity in the scenario than there was division. And he seems to always be interested in sowing division. Always.
I think that sports can actually do that connection.
I agree.
That we need, because more people are involved to watch sports than anything.
Yeah.
Probably in the United States, maybe not spend as much money, but everybody's involved in some kind of way, with sports.
Some type of sport, yeah.
And it's
in the world as well, though. Look at soccer.
Yeah,
you're talking about the World Cup's about to kick off in Moscow.
Yeah.
Man, the only place that won't be glued to the TV is the United States.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's the only place in the world that's not going to be like, man.
Yeah, it's true.
But
you have to use that platform, and that's why I feel like these athletes should be able to use their platform to be able to speak whatever they want to speak on.
Right.
Because most of these athletes are citizens of the United States, and you're saying that they don't have rights when they can't speak out. And it doesn't make any sense. We have freedom of speech.
Well, and you see, the Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, came out just today and said, we encourage our players to speak to their issues, and we encourage them to continue to doing it. By the way, LeBron, go to New Orleans. He didn't say that part. He was just thinking it.
Yeah, but the NFL is the good old boy system. So when in the good old boy system, you have a handful of owners that are manipulating or controlling and are in bed with the president. So he can shoot down to them. I want you guys to do this. I want you guys to do that. And
you're talking about the Big C.
Yeah.
You're talking about collusion.
Yeah.
Which is going to be interesting, which is also why Kaepernick is trying to subpoena him.
Yes.
Which I don't know how he could be successful in that, but it's a very interesting concept.
They said that it could happen.
In theory, all this stuff can happen. I just hope whatever it is going to happen starts happening faster, because this that
4 years will be up in a few minutes, right?
Yeah, it'll be up in a few minutes. It'll be time for him to start putting the parade on again. Well, you got anything else that you want to cover about yourself, about your career?
Tune into the fight, ESPN, July 14th, live in New Orleans. If you can't be there, come.
Now,
watch it. Watch it. If you can't be there, watch it on ESPN.
Well, we'll pump it up as well in the following weeks as it gets closer to the fight. Quick question: are you on social media?
Yes.
Where can the people find you?
Just I mainly do Instagram at Regis Prograis, REGIS PROGRAIS.
I follow you immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, and news and notes real quick. You see, Rafael Nadal is about to he's in the position to pick up the to top his own record.
Yeah,
he went to the finals, but I'm going to tell you something.
What?
He's in for a fight, Randy Piper, because this kid Dominic Thiem is the individual who has beat him on clay a few times.
Wow.
Yes, and so it's going to go down in France on Sunday. This is what I'm here to tell you.
Now, what time in the morning is it over here that we should watch
6 p.m. West Coast, 9 p.m. East Coast. Sorry, 6 a.m. West Coast, 9 a.m. East Coast. It's a serious situation. We had a travel show on the Tennis Channel where we follow the tennis tournaments around the world, and we explore the cities that are hosting these tournaments.
Yeah,
and in that, R.I.P. to Anthony Bourdain, because he kind of set the bar in creating that sort of program.
You know, with him, it's like social media wise, it's big, but when you watch television this morning and stuff, they weren't covering it as much as I thought that they should. He's like a cultural icon.
And on just like you were saying, on social media, you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
But on television, they're lightly speaking about it. They go in a little bit, but they could do some cultural icon.
They might push it later today or something like that.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
they said that
push
CNN was putting together a tribute for him.
Yeah, they might push it a little
He
later.
deserves it. Because he changed the
set
format.
The trends. But I did a whole piece. That's what I did. I did a whole intro about that. About, honestly, now more than ever, I feel more confident that we are not connecting as Americans, because this is why people get to this point of loneliness and hopelessness that make you want to take your own life. You got to be down in the dark for that, man. I mean, I've been down in the dumps before, but I never thought to myself it was go time.
Right.
Not at my own, not by my own hand.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to really be in a spot where you feel like there's no other answers. You got to be in a hard spot to want to go that route.
I just think that in this era of communication, we have a problem with communication.
This is my point. That's my point.
Because basically, through social media and everything, it's easier
social media is messing people up.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
So if I have something to say to you, I won't call you and say, "Hey, Regis, man, I got a problem with this or that." I'll shoot you a text message today.
Exactly.
Yeah, social media is definitely messing people. I was watching the study about it, and they actually said what they were saying. When you get a notification or something like that,
it's an endorphin. It goes off. The serotonin.
It goes up 400%.
He said it's like cocaine.
Exactly. Almost the same as cocaine.
That's crazy.
But look, the thing about cocaine, the thing about social media, kids can do it.
Yeah.
And the other thing I thought you was about to say as well, that's a good point. The other thing I thought you was about to say was there's notable and noted side effects of cocaine use and prolonged cocaine use. Sugar does the same thing for people. There's noted side effects, obesity, diabetes, blah, 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 blah. We are just now establishing the social media era.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the noted side effects that we're seeing is this spike in suicides.
And school shootings.
Yeah.
And, all of this stuff that this angst that people have. You can even add the tensions, the divisions politically in this, that, and the other.
I think that one of the reasons why is because a lot of people don't have courage to say things to other people's face. Instead, you can hide behind a text message or a tweet or Instagram, anything.
Man, how many tough guys do you have to deal with on social media?
Zero, because I don't respond to nobody. I don't respond to nobody.
That's a good policy.
You can put, the thing with social media, you can put a smiley face up, and somebody's gonna have something bad to say about it. Floyd Mayweather can post a picture of him giving a homeless person some money or him with his daughter.
Why didn't you give him $2 million?
Yeah, it's gonna be somebody that's gonna say something bad. Somebody always got something to say bad, and you can hide behind a screen. You can always hide behind a phone or whatever, So that's why I don't get on that stuff. I don't like go back and forth, lip wrestle or text wrestle with people. I don't do that stuff. It's pointless. It's all
and
yeah.
You might not even be lip wrestling with a real person.
Most likely, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy.
Might not, and herein lies the issue. You put that powerful of a medium and that powerful of a tool in the minds of people who are still forming their opinions about who they are about themselves with the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or people who are too fragile to be able to take that hate and that criticism, because you have to be strong to be able to digest that and not explode.
It's true.
Improperly. And we're seeing the evidence of it. And
it's crazy. All these school shootings. I don't know how you grew
unbelievable.
Up, but I grew up in the hood. I'm from New Orleans. We never had.
Ain't nobody thinking about shooting up the school.
A school?
Well, honestly, when I grew up, part-time in Los Angeles, we had school shootings, and teachers used to get beat up all the time, and it wasn't a big deal. Nobody ever really said anything about it. One of the guys that we lived next door to in Gardena beat up a school teacher real bad, threw a brick through his window and everything. After he beat him up, he didn't even go to jail. It wasn't on the news, it wasn't any of that, but through social media now and everything, people can actually make more noise with that. I think that one of the things I was telling my brother about is that we have a bunch of young kids now with these school shootings that are in adult situations and adult relationships and everything else.
That's another thing.
You know, and it's hard enough, even if you're married, you're an adult to be able to handle that, let alone a 16-year-old or 50-year-old, and then somebody puts out, you think you like somebody, you send them a naked picture, they show everybody.
It's all bad.
Social media.
Yeah, and all of a sudden these kids snap. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But you know also, though, that there's a big difference. I just want to put this out there as a caveat. There's a big difference between shootings at school and school shootings.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's talking about, I do believe, and that's what I mean.
Like in the hood, we never had that. You know what I mean? Like we
shooting up 20 people at the school is
no,
different.
like,
Somebody getting
we gonna get one person.
That's what he's
go
saying.
get everybody. Like, yeah, that's
it's
kind of
different
ridiculous.
Animal.
Yeah,
it's completely ridiculous.
Yeah,
because if we get into it at school and we mix it up. Hey, we mix it up. You get me, I get you. The last thing I'm thinking about is you about to come shoot up the whole school.
The whole school, teachers and all. Like, why? Like,
or if you beat me down, the last thing I'm thinking about is, man, forget that, man. Everybody getting it in. Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody in history class it's go time.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's social media too. A lot of it's social media because the kids can't escape that. They go home like,
can't get away.
Like before
can't
the cell phones and stuff like that. You get teased at school. All right, what 7 to 3 or something like that. That's cool. You go home with your people and stuff. Now it's all day long.
Yeah, it rides you. It's on you.
Yeah, you get the notifications, and you know if somebody teases you at school, it's all day long. You constantly getting teased, and the kids, a lot of strong. If you got to be strong minded to, I guess, be able to take that, but the kids
got to be developed, and they're
not developed. Exactly.
But let me ask you this though: just like the endorphins shoot up when you get a positive message, what does it do when you get that negative message?
Gotta look that up.
Make you rage out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Something bad.
Yeah, something bad.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you shoot up the podcast, and that's what. No, sorry, it's a bad joke. It was been poor taste. Sorry about that. But that's what This is the thing. You're always tapping into something one way or the other, and if you aren't emotionally fit
or developed
to handle it, and this is adults that we're seeing aren't there,
Yeah.
let alone children.
Yeah.
But with that, want to give a shout out to a friend of the Ozone, Raul Fernandez, and the Washington Capitals for winning their first Stanley Cup ever for the city of Washington, for the district rather of Columbia. A lot of love there. I look forward to that parade. You got Alexander Ovechkin, who's probably finally going to get his just desserts because he's one of the greats that everybody tried to hang over his head that he didn't have a ring in one of those weird ring situations. We want to thank our guests today. Thank you guys so much for coming through. It's Los Angeles on a Friday, and we know what the traffic is like. You're busy, you're training, y'all doing stuff. I appreciate you stopping by. I really do. You are a friend of the Ozone at this point. If you ever want to call in, you ever want to come back, the door is open. You got something to promote, Don't hesitate to reach out. It's all good.
Cool. Thank you.
And just want to leave you guys with an African proverb, and I think it's particularly relevant today, and it is, if you wish to move mountains tomorrow, you must start by lifting stones today. Take care of yourselves, folks. This is the Ozone, and remember, we are all in this thing together.
Ozone.
I'm just living the dream. I'm in love with the lights.